Hi, I'm Judy.
And I'm Tamara.
Welcome to Balance Not Boring, the wellness podcast that's not about extremes or perfection.
Just real conversations on balancing your mind, body, and soul in our bustling city of Dubai.
So grab your tea and get comfy with us.
Oh, and fair warning, you will learn something.
Welcome back to another episode of Balance Not Boring. For our new joiners, we are a wellness podcast focused on living a healthy 80-20 lifestyle in today's hectic pace. Tamara and I are just working moms trying to thrive without the extremes, and we invite you to join along with us to look and feel your best in practical, sustainable ways. Don't forget to rate, subscribe, and like on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, and follow us on Instagram at Balance Not Boring Podcast to stay up to date. Today, we have the lovely Baraa El Sabbagh, content creator, a dietitian, personal trainer, meditation instructor, and Adidas athlete. She's the founder of Glow with B in Dubai, a coaching program that helps high-achieving women care for their bodies without burnout. As a mom and a wellness expert, she brings a grounded, realistic approach to feeling good in your body. Today's episode covers a topic that many of us women have dealt with or continue to deal with over our transforming decades: body image. In fact, it's a global epidemic. A study in 2021 showed us that 75% of young women reported a body image distress, even when not considered overweight. Tamara and I felt that it's important to shed light on this, as being stuck in this cycle can be debilitating and it eats away at our confidence. So today, we chat about Baraa's experience around questioning her body and what she did about it, intuitive eating versus structured eating, obsession over caution, normalizing body fluctuations throughout milestones like pregnancy, postpartum, and more, and how to stop beating yourself up and live with structure that still feels flexible and freeing. So disclaimer and trigger warning, we only reflect our personal experiences and opinions. We are not medical professionals, so if you require support, please consult your healthcare provider right away. Welcome, Baraa.
Thank
We're
you.
so happy that you're here.
I'm so excited to be
Honestly,
here.
you're amazing.
Oh, you're so sweet.
You really vibe with us, and like we've
Yeah.
talked about this, so I think that a lot of our audience will really relate to what you have to say.
I hope so.
Definitely.
And all the things that you mentioned are really exciting and juicy. So
yes,
I really
it's really
hope-
raw, guys.
Yeah,
Get ready.
I know.
When was the first time that you looked in the mirror and said, something's wrong with me?
So it wasn't particularly a mirror moment for me. It was more about realizing that there was comparison that started to happen. And growing up, I moved a lot. I moved a lot of schools and I moved countries as well.
Okay.
So from when I was 9 to 14, so puberty years, I was in the US. And their culture was different. And then I moved to Lebanon afterwards. So there's new experiences, new expectations, a cultural shift that was really big. And so when I went from the US to Lebanon, there was a big what's happening here? What was looked at in terms of like on my body and like what I looked like was completely different in terms of maybe judgment, acceptance, and all of that in the US compared to when I went to Lebanon and I was with a different group of friends in a different environment, a different experience. And that's when I realized that my body was something to question or that adds value or that is a part of acceptance or belonging. And that was a big one because especially at that age when you're, puberty and teenage years and all of that, your internal compass isn't 100% there. You're still trying to figure out where it is that you fit in, what it is, what are your values, what are your morals, what's important, what guides who you are as a person. And at that time, it's not all there, especially with shifting environments. And when I realized that that was happening, that's rough. But I ended up using a lot of that change, the adaptability to change and helping me a lot later on. But then it was difficult because you're trying to fit into different environments and different situations. And it just does not give you that satisfaction because you're also at I was at such a young age, So trying to figure out being curvy was really nice when I was in the US. That's what got attention, or maybe that's what was valued amongst friends, amongst a group. And then I go to Lebanon, it was a lot more about being thin. And it was a lot more about who's skinnier and who looks a certain way and having space in your pants. And
the thigh gap. Don't forget the thigh gap.
Exactly. And I think at that time, there was also a cultural shift with the media and what's online as well. And I think that's when Thinspo was coming in. Being thin was cool. There was Thinspiration. So several things happened at the same time that kind of made me go like,
And you were confused on what do you really feel the best in? Like, what should you strive to look like?
Exactly.
And also, I mean, science says that we've done an episode recently about the brain. We don't really develop our logical side of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, till we're 27.
100%.
So when we're 15, 16, like we think we know it all, but we're actually super influenced by the external.
Oh, yeah.
External validation was everything.
Right. You need your friends to accept you. You need a sense of belonging that's outside of home or like, you know, beyond that scope. And you end up looking for that validation from your friends. And if this is what your friends and your peers and the people around you think is cool, you're going to run into that. And so that's where it gets really tricky.
So the audience might not know, but we're in the same age group, just 1 year difference, but we don't need to say the age. But anyways, so we went through the same kind of transformations and decades, and we've seen how the body trends have changed from thin to curvy and fit to now it's kind of going back to thin again.
Yes.
And the low-rise jeans are trying to inch their way back, and we're all like, no, it's not happening. It doesn't suit anybody. I don't care how skinny. But these things are really toxic. And just think about it back then. You know what was the kind of striving factor, at least in my friend group in the US, because I grew up in California, was Victoria's Secret. Ugh. Listen, we all know the recent show, like they're trying to embrace diversity and body shapes, which it's great. It's a little too late for me personally, but like, you know, at least they're trying. And Barbies now have different ranges, whatever. But back then, it was one body type. And that body type is not feasible for the average person who has a job, who might have kids, who has hormonal fluctuations, who has acne. Like, this is like a Barbie in real life form. Yeah. And when we have these impressionable brains, this was so toxic. So like a personal experience is I remember how much me and one of my best friends, we used to look forward every year to sit together in my bonus room and watch these girls. Yeah. And how do we look like that? We just got our periods, like, you know, recently, a few years back. We're still like navigating our bodies, how to eat. We don't have a proper fitness system. And we're just looking at them. We're like, why can't we look at that? And our self-esteem was through the drain.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, it's like you really absorb in those years what you see, you internalize it, and it might affect you for years to come.
100%.
How do you see that with your clients now?
With my clients, I would say a lot of them are within the same age group, a little bit older, a little bit younger. So it does impact a lot of that. And I realize that a lot of people have different tastes, different preferences. I have a friend who would just like to, you know, she likes the thin shape, whereas another one likes the thicker. So it is different in terms of what it is, but it still remains body shape and looking a certain way still remains the main scope and focus of a lot of women, which is, you know, really problematic. And like you said, watching these things as teenagers shapes what your 20s and that entire 20 to 30 decade is going to be like for you. Because you put it in your mind, this is what beauty is. This is what a standard is. This is what gets attention. And I remember at the same time that you were watching Victoria's Secret, I was watching beauty pageants in Lebanon.
Wow.
And that was like a whole thing. Toxic, it was like Malik Jamil and all of that. And you're like, whoa. And so that was also an era of a very difficult time, I would say, for a lot of us.
So now how did you really let yourself, or how did you learn how to shift from that? So like looking at your body and thinking, okay, that this is the way that my body should look like, or the pressure you put on yourself. How did you switch that into a body respect and appreciation? When did that happen for you?
Yeah, I had several turning points. I would share with you the last one, the one that made the biggest impact and the biggest shift is pregnancy and motherhood. But of course, in my 20s, I had a lot of shifts as well that helped. And it helped me go from the body pressure to body respect, or more so even self-respect, you know, just respecting myself as a person and realizing that my body isn't a thing to just control and to be objectified and to look a certain way and to mold in a certain way. Rather, there's so much more to a human being, to me as a person. And that allowed me to shift away from that body pressure throughout the years. But pregnancy and motherhood was like, it was like I don't know how to describe it. It was like a workshop, you know, like I felt like I was in a pregnancy workshop for 10 months.
Yeah.
And it was the coolest thing. It was hard at first. It was very hard from month, 0 to 4. It was difficult because I felt like I was in it was a transition phase, and my body was not pregnant and it was not itself, the one I've been used to for years.
You're just bloated and everyone's like, why do you look like this?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't feel like
and
yourself.
You don't fit in your clothes in the same way. Some things are different, and every woman has a different experience. But mine was very confusing to me in that way. I thought I would just, I don't know, get a little belly and it would be cute.
And cute from day one, yes.
Yes, but it didn't fit that frame that I had in my mind. And that's when I learned that I needed to let go. And I needed to control what I can, as in eat healthy where I can, work out when I can, move when I can, relax and rest when I need to, and then also let go of what I can't. And that means I can't do the same things that I used to do before because it doesn't make sense anymore. And that directly shifted my mindset and allowed me to look at my body in a completely different way. And then it was like a marvelous, like it was a blossoming. It was the most beautiful thing.
I honestly think from pregnancy, like I remember looking at and seeing the changes and knowing, like with each gyno appointment, what my body was doing to foster this fetus. Like how, I don't even think about it, subconscious, and how beautiful and miraculous the body is.
Right.
And until I went through that on a personal level, I used to look at the body as almost like this sounds really bad, but an object.
You're right.
Like, okay, it's here. Yeah, you walk with it, you eat with it, cool. But I thought about how it is, like, how should it look?
Right.
How fit am I? How, like, it was almost like a benchmark in aesthetics, which is really like what a lot of 20-year-olds, maybe teens go through just because we don't know any better and we haven't experienced the body in a different way.
Right.
When I finally went into not only being pregnant, but the family planning and thinking about pregnancy, I started to treat it with more respect, like more mindfully.
Yeah.
The macros I put on my plate, 3 colors at least every meal, like thinking of antioxidants, what vitamins am I really taking in? Like being a little bit more slow and mindful made me shift that relationship. And now looking at it as more of like, it's here as a woman, we have a birthright, that we have ovaries, we have the ability to create life, co-create in a way, if you believe in a higher power. It's beautiful. Yeah. When you look at it like that, of course it feels good to, look good and to like feel good in your own clothes. That's one part of it, but that's not your entire identity with your body. Yes.
And I think you worded everything you said so beautifully.
I hope so.
No, you did. You did so good. That was beautiful. And I appreciate your honesty about that time. And I think I did go through something similar during that time. I think it was around when I was 23 till I was 28. It was major fitspo season. So fitness inspiration, increasing the muscles a little bit, the toning, the shaping, that particular look of going from skinny to strong, and that shift. And that shift is a very controlling one, where you control everything that you eat, your macros, your proteins, and everything that you do, as well as your workouts. And you look at your body as something you control, or as something that's an object.
Exactly.
And allowing yourself to come out of that. And I feel like it's amazing how it works, that like you go through this life cycle and it forces you out of that place. And I think it doesn't always have to be pregnancy for everybody, right? Like I think we had that similar shared experience, but I think it could be so many things. It could be events, it could be conversations, it could be
health-related changes.
It could be pain, it could be reaching a point of pain where you're like, things gotta change.
Yes, like rock bottom.
Khalas, and then you take action and you go from there.
Totally.
But that was one of the main ones. Pregnancy onwards, I gained a completely different understanding of my body.
It's beautiful. And we'll get into that in your motherhood journey now soon. But just curious about your personal perspective on your life, not only with your body. So I say it all the time, like I'm a recovering perfectionist. I'm a proud Capricorn, type A. Like I did do my best with grades. I did it. My body, I tried to be healthy. I tried to work out. But like extremes aren't always great. There's like, this is why we call it balanced, not boring, because we want to have a balanced mindset. How about you though? How was your experience growing up? Did you ever consider yourself highly critical of yourself or others? Or were you more of like a type A, B or B? Like how was your childhood?
I think I've always had high standards. And I think high standards are great because they can help you with a lot of things in life, right? They can help you with your job. They can help you with motherhood, with friendships, with just maybe even self-respect and just setting yourself up for success. And that's how I viewed it for a long, long time. Like from the start, For me, school, I graduated with top of the class. University, I was an honors student. I got into the top program. So I do have a lot of the same tendencies with having these high standards, being a perfectionist. But I did realize that it also can really creep in if you don't set boundaries for it. And I learned that I needed to set those boundaries so that it doesn't go to places that are unhealthy or detrimental or where you don't go back from. And I think my education in nutrition and health helped me in setting these boundaries because I know what's healthy and what's dangerous, right? Mm-hmm. But I also believe that nutrition and having so much knowledge can also go in the other direction where it's like you try your best to do all of the things, all of the healthy things, to check off the checklist of eating a certain way, doing this so that you can be the healthiest version of yourself. But I had to learn how to use that in a way that does not cause further stress or pressure on my body. But I'm aware that it creeps in.
Totally. And that's what we want to shed light on in this episode is that it's so easy to fall into that extreme health pattern of, there was a phase in my 20s. So I had a stomach kind of, not scare, but like, let's say a phase where I would have like ulcer type feelings. I was studying abroad. I think the stress of being in a new country with a language in France that I wasn't really that comfortable speaking. Whoa. So I was in not Paris, like a smaller city, and I loved it. I mean, it made me who I am today in a way of like taking the risks, being brave, knowing no one. Wow. But with that comes stress. And I didn't know in my early 20s or whatever, I think I was 20 at the time.
Your body.
Exactly. Mind-body connection. Totally believe in it because it literally like showed in my stomach. I started to, cramping and that's my first way to know. Am I stressed? Am I nervous? And over time, maybe just like even being excited is a form of stress, even if it's a positive form, So anyways, my body was showing me. So I felt like whether it was new foods I was trying or the mind-body connection, I started feeling things. I started going through my whole rabbit hole of intolerance testing, changing my diet, FODMAP, disaster. Tamara, if she was here, she would tell you as well. We've had the similar experience. And now I'm like, I don't believe in extremes because that got me into a rabbit hole of once I started doing the FODMAP and cutting out lots of food groups, I felt a lot better. I lost some weight. I was never overweight, but I always was like, I can lose 5 pounds. You know? I lost weight. I was exercising. I felt my best. And people know that who know me, like, oh, she looked really wow. But that mindset of like, everything needs to be perfect or I will crumble. Like I can't go out to eat because they have, let's say, gluten in the pasta. Like, listen, now I'm in a mindset, thankfully, I don't have celiac. I can have it here and there. I don't believe in extremes anymore because of the stressful impact on my mental health that it did to me. And I didn't realize it when I was in it until later. I didn't realize like I could be living more freely and it wouldn't kill me to have a little bread when we go out to eat. I don't want to get into that extreme health pattern. I want to like travel, go to a hotel, eat and feel free, and then go back to a structured or intuitive eating plan later. But for now, let me enjoy my time. This is how I think now. But in my 20s, it was not like that. It was fear-based.
Yeah. It's amazing the level of self-awareness that you also reached and understanding that you've also reached throughout the years. But I feel like even until now, what you're saying is things that are very prevalent and they are very much there. Go on TikTok, you'll see the level of disordered eating and eating disorders and things that are happening and the struggles that people really go through. Even I don't think it's going to go away for a long time, especially with the prevalence of social media and everything that we're seeing and the accessibility that we have. And I think one of the most important things anybody can do is ask themselves why.
Yes.
And why am I doing this? For what? Is it going to bring me the happiness that I'm after? Is it going to bring me the satisfaction? Is it going to make me that person that I think I'm going to be, or is going to give me the feeling that I'm going to have? Or is it that when I reach there, likelihood, I'm not even going to see that I reached that point of body shape or etc. You're going to still want more. You're going to go even more extreme, and it's going to stress you out and bring all of that mental stress to the situation. And you're still not going to be satisfied with your body or your body image.
Exactly.
And you ask yourself, is this what I want? Or is what I want a life with happiness, flexibility.
Yes, and health and energy and like a free mindset.
But also, at the same time, you could also have goals for yourself and you could have self-respect for your body. Because I find exercise, movement, workouts, nutrition, all of that, a form of self-respect, but it has boundaries and it can't be something that is extreme, like you were mentioning. So it's just put it in there, but don't let it take over.
Totally.
It's 10% of the pie. It's not the whole pie.
I think the why is the biggest thing that we need to ask ourselves. Why are we entering a diet program, or why are we going to the gym 6 times a week? What is the functional reason? Is it because that's what everyone's doing? I need to do it too. That that's not going to be sustainable for you.
That's not consistent. Yeah, that's when you lose consistency.
Because it's just because you're living for the outward, for what works for others, because you think that might be right. And listen, everybody has their own, I guess, reasons for doing something, but as long as you feel good doing them, if you're eating a certain way and it fuels you and you feel good, that might not work for the person sitting right next to you, 100%. But that works for you as long as it's in healthy boundaries and you have support and guidance when needed. That's the perfect balance in my view. So tell us on that note, the difference between intuitive eating and structured eating.
I find intuitive eating to be a place you reach when you have that trust with your body and understanding of your body and how much you need to eat. I find that a lot of us in our generation has a lot of miscommunication with the body and understanding of what they actually need. We went through a lot of diets, a lot of yo-yos, a lot of things, a lot of restriction, a lot of overeating to reach the place where we are today, particularly unhappy with food or unhappy with our body and have that kind of unhealthy relationship with food. And I find just diving into intuitive eating, just to like try it, kind of like you would dive into intermittent fasting. You look at what the rules are and you follow it. I find that you can't do that with intuitive eating. And I find that there's a dissonance and a disconnection when it comes to it. I find that structured eating can help you build that trust with yourself and educate you on maybe what it is that you actually need, and to help you reframe things of understanding also your cues of fullness, of hunger and all of that in a way that's balanced and in a way that gives you the nutrients that you need, that help you reach your protein goals, your muscle goal, because the way I work and the people I work with, I really combine nutrition as well as exercise. And with that comes, also increasing your muscle mass for longevity, for being healthy, for all the benefits that come with increasing your muscles, as well as aesthetics. It looks good and it feels good and it gives you the confidence that you need as
added bonus,
as an after effect, right? And so for that, you also need to prioritize your protein, but not just for muscle, for your hair, for your head, for fullness, for all of these things. So providing that kind of structure and understanding of food, I find to be essential before moving on to something that's intuitive eating.
Yes.
I support women from A to Z. I don't like them to like reach a goal and then you're like, oh, what do I do now? No, I help you with the maintenance as well and how to move forward without having to follow particularly a structure. How to just consciously be healthy without consciously be healthy.
Yes,
you know
totally.
what I mean?
I mean, that's what I wanted to highlight is there's a lot of diet programs. There's a lot of food content creators or nutritionists that you listen to. They know their facts, but the way that they might share their mantras are a bit extreme or very structured to the point where that's when the whole unhealthy patterns come in of like, if I go out to eat, I'll ruin my whole week's plan that I've just, So when we come to a balanced way of structure, there needs to be a nice like touch of like, okay, I can have a cheat day or it could be infused into my lifestyle, but there's no like, if I eat this chocolate tomorrow is horrible. Like how do you kind of talk through your clients?
The way I look at it is that our body is... Particularly my programs aren't things that are like 4-week programs.
Yes.
Or like a 1 visit to the dietitian kind of thing. And then you have to follow this to reach a certain goal. I work with women over 6 months period, 12 months period, so that we could really see that change. And so that one meal or that one day or that 1 week, even, not even a day, even 1 week or 2 weeks that we're off are things that we could still work with because it's part of our lives. And so this is what I help them with. It's like, okay, if I go on vacation for that long, how do I deal with this kind of situation? How do I get back to these things? And for me, the way that you do is you just simply get back to it.
That's
do you know
so
what I
simple.
mean? Like you just don't overthink it. Nothing detrimental happened, you're not gonna, not everything is gonna fall out of place. Not all your efforts are gonna go away, because they're in this program to put in the effort to get the result. So they're doing the work. They're doing the 80%. They're doing the 70%. They're doing the 60%. And when you're doing that, that counts and that stays. And so whatever you do every now and then is not going to be that detrimental. It might slow down some progress.
Yeah.
So what?
But life is, long.
Exactly.
It's not like you're on a marathon and where's the time limit? You're putting it on yourself. It's not needed.
Exactly.
Just make it a lifestyle.
100%.
Big picture.
And that's what we're after. We're after understanding that it's not going to be a diet all the time. It's going to be, you're eating healthy, you're eating in a structured way, you're achieving these goals, you're doing 80% of what it takes to be healthy, and specifically with eating and changing habits, right? Like when you're joining a program, you want to break through some of the old unhealthy habits that you particularly had. Maybe mindless eating, maybe overeating, maybe social eating without being conscious, maybe emotional eating when you're stressed, when you're overwhelmed. So we do have to break some of these habits, and parts of it are difficult. And
it's psychological.
It's hugely psychological. And so you're gonna find that, okay, I do have to make some changes. And when you do these changes last.
Yes.
And so even if you have the 1 week, the 1 day, the one occasion, it's not gonna impact the big picture and everything that you do.
Also, we should remind the audience, we always forget this, even myself included, is how resilient the body is. Like, look at pregnancy. That's just one example of how your body can go back to how it was. And even if it doesn't go back to exactly the way it was, your body gave birth, you gave life, your hips might be a bit wider forever, but it doesn't mean it's wrong. No. Like accepting how our bodies will change through each phase of life. There's menopause, there's perimenopause. Like we all have hormonal fluctuations, life transitions, but as long as we accept we're doing our best, we're healthy, we overall big picture look good, feel good, in sustainable ways that will last me.
Right.
It's all about the mindset.
Right.
Like you said, be mindful during when you're eating. Be mindful, are you eating because you're actually feeling hungry, or you're just emotionally eating because you had a bad day?
A lot of times we don't even have to validate the reason. Sometimes you just want it. And it's just being aware of what's going on. I'm eating this because I'm feeling this way. And my current situation is difficult, and that's okay. But then if you want growth and further self-development, maybe sit with the feelings a little and see what's going on. Like if I don't go for the piece of chocolate, or if I don't go for that particular thing, what is the feeling that's coming up? Exactly. Is it overwhelm? Is it stress? Is it boredom? Is it loneliness? And what can I do about that? Or maybe just sit with the feeling and then just let step 3 and 4 and 5 come as you go. Just have an open mindset. It
sounds like you're saying just be a bit more mindful with how we move, when it comes to food, and just instead of rushing to what the autopilot habit would have been, taking that extra few minutes to really ask yourself, am I actually craving this, or am I just going like what I would used to do? If you are, great, have some. You don't need the whole bar. You can have a little bit until you feel satiated. If you're not, then maybe there's something else. Yeah. Do you want to journal it out? Do you want to call a friend? Go on a walk?
Exactly. And I find that to be so powerful if you want to escape this cycle. And I find that that's where a lot of women want to be. They want to escape I ate uncontrollably. I didn't know I am eating this. I don't know why I'm eating this. I'm feeling so I'm eating this, and this is the thing that's making me feel better, but then it doesn't make me feel better. I feel bad because I'm doing this on a daily basis, let's say. And if I do this on a daily basis, it's having these effects afterwards on me and my body and my self-confidence. And if it's reaching that point and it's not making you feel good, what can we do?
Totally.
What can we explore? And I think just having an open mindset, not particularly fixing, not jumping into I need to fix this right away, but just explore the feelings, the thoughts, and then go from there. And I think you'll find a lot of freedom from that.
Yeah. And let's talk motherhood now a little bit, because I know you created Glow with B to help people with all walks of life, not only mothers. But being a mother, you know how busy it can be, being a working mother, let's say. So talk to us about how Glow with B, you're kind of trying to mediate that stress of thinking about food for yourself and the family. Like, how does that go into your program?
I find that motherhood is a difficult thing to manage by yourself with everything else that you have going on in life. I think it's a lot of stress. I think it comes with a lot of things. obviously it comes with a lot of beauty. It comes with a lot of insanely beautiful experiences, right? But also there's a lot for you to juggle. And I find that the reason I created Glow with B is to help women through that journey by taking something off their plate and supporting them in a way that can help them live healthier, happier, more energetic lives, while also helping them achieve their goals, whether that's physical or not. And so basically I help women with their nutrition, with their meal plans, how they eat, but not just for them. If they're mothers, it would be also taking into consideration their family. So if she's not going to be preparing a meal for herself, but then a meal for her son and then a meal for her husband, it's going to be the main meal that you guys usually eat. But how do we really make that work for you with your goals in place? So it opens their world to a healthy lifestyle that maybe they never had access to in a very cool and practical way. So that's one element. Another one is exercise and movement and getting them to have a structure, a workout plan, videos, accessibility, tools that they can use wherever they are around the world to be able to do them. And there's a lot of other elements as well, but one of the biggest things is that there's the one-on-one support that they get from me as well as my team. So when things get sticky or difficult or inconsistent, or there's worries, or I ate like this, or I had this emotional eating episode, or what do I do in this kind of situation, where you have a team of experts you can rely on to diffuse a situation and help guide you on how to move forward. And these tools are tools that are meant to stay with you forever. And these are not tools that are meant to just, do a quick fix, like instead of eating this, eat this. No, it's how do I manage and how do I deal with all of these things? Because these are the skills that you need.
Yeah, and you need time. If you want to be mindful about how you're eating, what you're creating for you and your family, like we need time, which we don't have. Like, let's be honest, we live in this busy city, traffic, work demands. Like, it's nice that you can take away that stress and know that whatever the people are going to eat through your program, how you guide them is actually healthy. There's the right macros, the right colors on the plate, antioxidants. It's not just about calories or the portion. And that's the old way of thinking in my view. Yeah. And I know you don't focus on that in yours as well. So
but of course, doing these things alone is not it. No. And I think it's possible if you are very self-disciplined, very motivated, and you have that time, you have that energy. But I find that most of us these days as moms, sleep deprived, there's a lot going on, there's a lot of stress. You need that extra support in helping you move forward through that, finding your motivation, finding the discipline, learning how to put it in place.
And just taking the stress out, So that brings me into the motherhood question. So with your son, now you've seen obviously through our decades of change in terms of body image and acceptance, and now how we look at bodies is completely different than we did, like, let's say 15 years ago. So with your son, how do you want to role model to him growing up the ideal and healthy ways to eat and how we look at our bodies? How do you foresee that I know he's a boy, but still men deal with it just as much as women. It's not talked about enough, But what do you think you're going to be doing to foster that healthy dependence on food?
Helping him realize that he's so much more than a body to begin with, that there are so much more to life. There's so much more to focus on: your values, your morals, the person that you are, the qualities that you have, your strengths, your abilities, all of these things, to bring those to life and to, again, keep food, body, nutrition 10% of the pie, not to make it the whole focus, but also from my part, I have to embody that too. And I have to do that. And I feel like this is one of the main reasons that a lot of moms eventually make that shift and make that change, because they don't want to pass on what they went through in their 20s and teens to their kids. So they're like, I have to make a change within myself. I have to change my behavior, what I do. I can't be eating this and expecting my son to eat that. I can't be eating, sugary cereal if I want my son to be eating steel-cut oats, just as an example.
Yes.
So you have to also show that change and model that to your son. That's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be modeling that, but not in a perfect way either. Yeah. He sees that I eat chocolate. He knows that I eat cake. I think extremism, and I see it a lot, is very unnecessary. Yeah. I did avoid sugar until he was 2. I did, but now it's like, it escapes a bit. It's not a really big deal. You know what I mean? So just allowing yourself to be human and to maybe even discuss some of the things that you went through, being open, bringing it to light, not hiding it, that there are these things that come up, and there is body dysmorphia when it comes to women as well as men, as well as people who go to gym. Once there's this thing where it's like, a man, once he sets a foot in the gym, he's never big enough, you know? They always want to be bigger, more muscles, more this. And then same thing for women. It's like once you set in the gym, you are never, I don't know, thin enough, or whatever it is that the goal is. And maybe highlighting that exists rather than him having to discover that by himself and talking through it. I think communication is one of the most important things.
I think us as millennials, our generation is very good at communicating. We look into our feelings, we sit with them, we empower our kids to talk about their feelings. We don't rush to discipline. Of course, we discipline, but in firm but nice ways. It's more like we sit with them and let them know why things are wrong. And we ask them, why did you act this way? Let's talk about, you know, breathing exercise. Let's calm down. Like all of these things, I think we kind of are, it's new for us. Our parents, as much as they did their best and they had amazing tools, they didn't have the time. They also were immigrants. They were in survival mode, a different generation. And I don't blame them. Like now I understand that, you know, it's just they didn't have tools that we have to learn. And so this is why it's so important. Not only do we reparent ourselves through this, but now we can pass on a different mentality around food and movement and balance, 80-20 rule, as we always say as well on this podcast. So question for you, being Arab American like me. So we had a lot of standards. In the Middle East, the family looks, they point out, they're blunt. How did you deal with that growing up? Because my visits to Syria, as much as I love them, I knew the first week was going to be about noticing. She lost weight. She gained weight. You have pimples. You don't have pimples. Like there was never a moment where I could just be, you know.
It's still like this.
It's still. So how do you navigate that? And also like if you, let's say, eat differently than your extended family does because you have, let's say, a fusion mujaddara to eat instead of the traditional way. How do you kind of tune out the noise?
I think this is one of the most difficult things that a lot of people go through because it shapes everything else most of the time later on. And you struggle and these comments stick. Whether someone tells you that, oh, karoush, or you have a little belly, or, you know, hayda tool, you know. So it's like, it's not even supposed to be there. Like they invalidate what you are and how you are and what your body is. And they try to explain it in a way that it's like, it's shameful, you know? And
it's out of love though, technically, right? Like they do it out of care. But these observations, especially growing up as a teen, you might take it in.
Yeah. And I still, until now, even when I go to Lebanon, the first thing that a lot of the older generation is to comment on is you've lost weight or you've gained weight or you look tired or your skin's like this, or there's always a comment. And it's hard unless you learn how to disempower these comments and not give them as much value as they really might hold.
Yes.
And just understanding that you need to come back to yourself and realize that, you know, this is me, this is what makes me happy. These are the things that are important about me, but it's not particularly what this person said.
Yes, totally. And I think, again, realizing that they are coming from love, they care, but that's their generational norms that they're instilling in you. When things have shifted, you also look at life differently, look at your body differently, at food differently. Yeah. Maybe what makes you feel good didn't make them feel good, for example. Like, I know my grandma, Allah yarhamha, would say, like you're eating granola, like that's just like a recipe for bloating. I'm like, yeah, but it makes me feel good. I have energy and I eat it. I pair it with the right macros, with like, you know, full fat yogurt, whatever it was back then. And they don't get it. So there's just some things, there's no point to really take in every word. And that's not only for family, that's for everyone in life.
Right.
And I just learned that in my 30s, like stop caring so much about what other people think, because not everything they say applies to me.
No.
Yeah. And that takes confidence.
Not giving it a lot of value. It takes confidence. It also takes just having a moment to sit with yourself.
Yes.
And being like, what's important here? Or what are my values? What are my strengths? So that you're not so influenced by what they have to say. And then just really disempowering that part. And I'll speak about my mom because it's really funny. My mom unconsciously comments about your body, if she sees you and like she knows you, let's say you're my friend, she's gonna be like, "Dafene, you lost weight," or you know,
even if it's a positive thing.
Even if it's a positive
yeah.
thing. Like sometimes she says this even to my husband, "Dafin," and my husband does not want a dafin.
Yeah.
He
like,
wants to be growing and he wants to look muscular, right? So whenever she sees him, it's like a trigger, you know? And I always tell my mom, we don't really comment on people's bodies, you know? I'm a dietitian. My sister's a dietitian. It's an entire household of like people who are very aware of these things. Yet she still does it.
Yes.
Even this summer, she did it again. And it's like, I have to accept it.
It's just part of the culture. And that's why I brought it up, this question, because I think a lot of our listeners based here might come from, you know, Arab or Eastern descents. And this is very normal. So I think fostering that confidence in yourself to be like, you know what, they have their opinion. To that person, maybe their norm in their head, skinny is beautiful. To another person in another culture, being fuller and curvier is beautiful. So if we're going to base our self-worth on everyone, how are we going to ever find peace?
And your self-worth should never be about your body or your looks.
Or external validation.
Or external validation.
So on this note, we want to know, what's the typical day in Bara's life with food? What do you eat?
Start with toast, eggs, basil, olive oil, pepper, salt.
It's like every spice in the book. Yes.
Cumin. I do the whole thing because I really like the bite to be yummy. I would start with that. Generally, I do that by 8 a.m. By around 11 a.m., I notice I tend to be hungry. So that's when I go for maybe a yogurt or like yogurt with granola or something to like keep me going until noon. And that's when I have a lunch. And lunch is generally a yakhni, a stew, something that I've already cooked at home. Just with like, for example, today it's bazal lawrez. So I just make sure that there's enough protein, there's enough carbs, there's enough veggies. It tastes good. I'm happy. And then likelihood I'm gonna have another snack. Or I've been trying this cool thing lately. I've been trying to eat dinner a little bit earlier with my son, which kind of makes me feel really good. Because I'm eating with him and it's enjoyable. And then I don't have to wait until after he sleeps in order to eat.
Exactly. I'm starving by 6, honestly.
Exactly.
I'm down.
Yeah. So I tend to have my dinner then. And my dinner it changes. Honestly, it just totally depends. Sometimes it's like a barbecue situation with salad and something like that. Or sometimes it's a yogurt bowl. Just because I don't feel like it. Or
it's hard to eat 3 hearty meals a day sometimes.
Exactly. And it depends on my level of training, how hungry I am, what I went through today, how my week has been even. But my dinner is very flexible. It changes. And
and that's what I call intuitive eating. See, like you obviously know at this point what's good for you, what's not. But you've reached a point where you can listen to your body. What do I need? So speaking of intuition, how can you tell one small step to listeners today? How can they start to listen more intuitively to their body?
So I would say try to practice some mindful eating. And that would mean coming into this space where you're about to have your breakfast, lunch, or dinner, and you are present, maybe not doing anything else. I know that's difficult, but maybe not turning on the TV, not looking at your phone, just being present. And then having the experience of just eating your food, maybe putting the fork down, taking a moment, realizing that you're eating, building that connection of fullness and hunger with yourself and go from there. One of the things I do with my clients is a mindful eating meditation. So we go through the whole experience of eating something, touching it, smelling it, closing your eyes, putting it in your mouth, letting it sit there, seeing how it goes. And most of the time, they end up having a piece of chocolate, let's say, and getting so satisfied from a very small piece compared to eating half the bar or the full bar. So it's just doing the mindfulness bit to bring yourself to the present moment.
So if your body could speak, Bara, what would it say to you today and why?
It would say thank you for trusting me and for being patient with me and for giving me the freedom to be throughout the years.
That's beautiful. And how do we view the body as a partner instead of an enemy sometimes?
Just work with it. Try not to fight it. Don't do things out of punishing or hate. Try to cultivate I know I hate when I hear sometimes self-love, but try to
Cringe. No, I'm just
it is. For a while, because I heard it so much, I was like, this is so annoying. How do you even do it? Do you know what I mean?
What is self-love? Like, where do you start? If you don't feel the love, right?
Yeah,
it's fake.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that takes work, and it takes a lot of work. So try to do things out of love, less judgment, out of care, fun. Bring that joy into the things that you do and let your body work with you. Don't do it because you hate or you're angry. And whenever there's these feelings there, try to see what's happening because it's trying to tell you something. You're anxious, you're angry, you're frustrated about your body. Those aren't feelings that, you know, should dictate and always be with you. It's okay if they're there, but how do we work with them?
Totally. And I would add to that as like looking at your body as a relationship. It's your partner in this life, in your human experience. It's literally your temple, your home, your sanctuary. So like working out, like friendships, like relationships romantically, if you put effort into it and you really put love into that, pour it into it, you will get something back. So when you take care of your body, you put love into that, you will feel good. Your body will take care of you. That's what it's here for. So it's really like, it's not a separate entity. No. Like you are your body, you're all one, you know? So feeling good in your body means feeling good in your everyday life as well. So we need to take care of that and foster the relationship.
Also, that part gave us the level of awareness and the level of, I need to figure this out. It gave you a reason and a bigger understanding, you know?
We had to go through some of those bumps, especially as teenagers. And with the media being so extreme back then, now we're starting to see, like I said, more of like acceptance and we're looking at body positivity and all of that. But it's just finding the balance that works individually. And there's no right, perfect diet for anyone or right, perfect workout. Everyone's body is different. I only learned through trial and error about low impact that works for me personally.
Balance.
But again, balance.
Balance, not boring.
Yeah. Cheers to that. Thank you so much, Baraa, for coming on. We're going to link all of your handles in the show notes because everyone who wants to reach out to you, who has questions, who wants to try your program, would love for them to reach out.
Absolutely.
So thank you. This has been so wonderful.
It was amazing.